and welcome back. This is the original ROM in the FS-A1 128K chip, and you might be wondering why it's here in my hand and not in the board. And as you can see here, it is because I have replaced it by this EEPROM. And the main reason for me it was to get rid of the Deskpac software. Don't get me wrong, Deskpac is very nice, but it is also very annoying. So each time you start your computer, it will go right to the firmware, to the Deskpac. Of course, you can skip it, but you need to skip it every time, so I didn't want that. So in this video I will explain to you how I desoldered the original chip, how to put a socket in there, and which contents you should write in the EEPROM to substitute the original ROM. Finally, I will explain you a little bit how the CPU, this chip in here, is organized in pages, slots and subslots, and how it can access both the RAM that you see here and the ROM. So without further ado, let's go for it. This is our ROM chip, as you can see in the schematic. It's 1 megabit of memory. 1 megabit, you can write it also as 128 kilobytes of RAM, and it has a couple of pins. So as usual, you need power, so you need ground and VCC 5 volts, and it has also this chip enable pin or signal that when it's not active it will disconnect the outputs. And we have also data pins, this here from D0 to D7, so we have 8 of them, and we need addresses, so we have these addresses in here. So the addresses, see, go from A0 to A16 with a total of 17 bits. Here we have a little bit of a problem, which is that our CPU, the Z80, is only able to address 16 bits. So this is the same as 64K of RAM or ROM. It's not a big problem because we'll see that the Z80 is able to do its magic with pages, slots and subslots. So let's have a look at the Z80. A very good place to learn about things is the Wikipedia. So let's have a look in there about the Z80. So this microprocessor, it's an 8-bit microprocessor. This is very important, designed by the company Zilog on 76. It was designed mainly by two engineers, Federico Fagin and Masatoshi Shima. Something very interesting about the Z80 is that Fagin designed it to be binary compatible with the 8080. Not only binary compatible, but he added many other improvements over the 8080, making it a very strong competitor. The Z80 comes in different packages. In this figure you can see the Deep 40 package, this rectangular shape, which is great because this is the one that you'll find in your MSX. About the pinout, in this video I'm mainly interested in these pins here, the address pins, which are from A0 to A15. This gives us a total of 16 bits, which is equal to this amount, which is 64 kilobytes of addressing. The CPU needs to see the 64 kilobytes of RAM and also the 128 kilobytes of ROM. So we'll see how the system does its magic. You can call it magic, or you can call it dark magic, or even you can call it memory paging, as you prefer. To understand it better, we can have a look at this other wiki, the one at msx.org or the MRC. In this page, for our Panasonic FS-A1, you can see what is called the slot map. Here you can see the addresses that are directly seen by the Z80, which go from 0000 up to FF FF. So this is a total of 64 kilobytes. The total 64K of memory that are seen by the Z80 are divided into these 4 pages, and they are given names. So this is page 0, page 1, page 2, and page 3. And here it comes the trick. Devices that have memory that should be accessed by the Z80 at some moment are put at different units, which are called slots. So we have slot 0, slot 1, slot 2, and slot 3. This could be, for example, the 32K of ROM, or if you insert a game of 64 kilobytes in your MSX, it could be in slot 1, or imagine that you insert a second cartridge, also of 64 kilobytes, it would be in slot 2, and your main memory, the RAM, you could have 64 kilobytes and you could put it in slot 3. Then every program can configure the memory as they wish. For example, imagine that you have a game that you insert here physically in your slot 1, and this game needs the main ROM, so it will configure these 2 pages, and of course the game needs to execute its own instructions, so it could have here its code. So it would configure this page to point to slot 1, and normally you need some RAM to execute the program, and the game could configure this last page to point to slot 3. This is done with a register which is called the main slot register, to configure which of the 4 slots is seen at each of the 4 pages. There's a special register which is called the main slot register, which is at address A8, that you can write and read also, and you can configure which of the slots will go to each of the pages. So let's explain this with an example. Imagine that, as we said, you have your game that you physically insert in slot 1, and your game needs the main ROM. So it needs at this set of addresses this part of the ROM, also the second part of the ROM. So it would configure that for this page it needs slot 0, so 0, 0. For this page, the second page, this one, it needs also slot 0, so 0, 0 in binary. For slot 1, you would put, we said that the code of the game is here, for example. So for this page, it would put slot 1, so 0, 1 in binary. And we said that it needs 16K of RAM, for example, which is at slot 3, and the game needs it in this page. So it would configure slot 3 in binary 1, 1. In assembly code, you would do something like load into register A, this value, this binary value, put it in here, and then out to port A8, this value. If you do like this, your memory will be configured like this. And by the way, you will have seen that for slot 3, I have more things. So this is because this slot 3 is called an expanded slot. So I can have what are called sub-slots. So these are the 3, 0, 3, 1, 3, 2, and 3, 3. And this is controlled by this address, only for slot 3. And I can configure my slot 3. Let's say, for example, imagine that I would like to have in this page RAM, like this. For the 2 other pages, I would like to have the firmware, the Deskpac software for these two pages, this one and this one. And for the third page I would like to have RAM again. So I would like to have, for example, this configuration. The only thing is that you write to this address. So okay, let's do it. For the first page I want slot 30, so it's 0. For the second one I want slot 3, 2, so 2 binary like this. For the next one I want the same, 2 again, so 2 in binary. And for the final page I want my RAM again, so it's 0, 0. So I would do the following. So load into register A this value and load into this address FFFF this value. If I do like this, my sub slots will be configured this way. As you can see, there's parts like this or the Deskpac software which come directly from our ROM chip, and the system is taking care of putting the different contents in different slots. So the way it is organized is as follows. So it is explained here in the wiki. So the first 32K is mapped to the first two pages. So we have here the main ROM, so 32K, first 32K. The second 32K is in slot 31, so it's 32K, it's all that. So we have our sub ROM, so 16K, and this is empty, so there's nothing in here. So this is another 16K. Then we have says the third 32K, it's slot 2, 3, so Deskpac. So this is Deskpac 1 32K, and the last one is Deskpac 2, Deskpac 2 32K. So as we said, the system will read the ROM and will map the different pieces into different slots and subslots. Something that we would like to do is to get rid of the Deskpac software, which in total is 64 kilobytes. It's a very nice software, but it is very annoying too, so let's get rid of it. Our main chip of RAM, it's 128 kilobytes. If I could subtract the Deskpac, I would need just 64 kilobytes. And this is good news because I can find a replacement, an EEPROM. So an EEPROM is a chip which is a electrically erasable programmable ROM that I can use to put back these contents, but without the Deskpac. So let's have a look about how this would be done. By the way, the idea of replacing the ROM chip, the original one, with an EEPROM is not mine. It was said by user GDX at MSX.org in 2017, and actually it's an excellent idea and it works very well, so I will explain you how this works and why. Here it comes the magic. Here on the left you have our replacement, the EEPROM, and here on the right the original ROM. As you can see, most of the pins coincide. If you look at the data pins, these ones, you have the same in here. Chip enable, you have the same. A10, it's here. VCC, it's in the same place. Both can work with 5 volts. Here you have addresses, the same. down to pin 23. So this is all the same. And here it comes the difference. This one, as you know, it's 128 kilobytes, so it needs this FS-A1 so it needs in total 17 bits, and this EEPROM is just 64 kilobytes of ROM. The good news is that actually we don't need to address this part, or we don't need this pin, because this pin is used to access Deskpac. So what happens if we connect it to our replacement is that it will be accessing this other pin, which is output enable. So, and this is negated. So what happens? When the system will try to access Deskpac, it will activate this line A16. When we put our replacement, what will happen is that output enable negate will be equal to 1 because we are activating A16. Output enable input to 1, it means that the outputs will be in high impedance. So it will effectively disconnect the data pins, which is kind of good because Deskpac should be there, and if we disconnect the outputs, for sure it won't find Deskpac. The BIOS will look for executable code. So what it does is to scan the slots and subslots, and it searches for a signature. The signature is simply that the page starts with AB. So for example, if it scans here and it finds AB in this address, it will execute this page. Or if it finds the signature in here, it will execute this page. The same for the expanded slots, the subslots. If it finds, let's say here, the AB at the beginning of Deskpac, it will execute it. In our case, what will happen is that the system will activate address pin A16 to access Deskpac. This will inactivate our EEPROM, so it will be disconnected, and at the same time also the RAM will be disconnected, which is kind of weird because in this situation we'll have both the ROM and the RAM disconnected. If this happens, it means that the Z80, when it tries to read the data pins, it will get a random bit. So in the end, there's a very small probability that by chance it will find the AB signature. So in practice, this works very well. So you will disconnect both the ROM and the RAM. Deskpac won't be found at all, so you hope that the AB signature won't be found by chance, and the system will boot directly into BASIC. This is what we want in the end. That was it for the explanation. Now let's get practical, and I will show you how I desoldered the original chip and how I put a replacement. this is it, my friends. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye bye.